Dosha Maragua, Dishkagnahudosha, Nitawe Hudosha. Cannupa Hanska Luger, Awache. Hello, my friends. Who are you and why have you come? My name is Cannupa Hanska Luger, and I am from the Dripping Earth clan, Awache. Today, I would like to tell you a story. See, a being was born out of the anxiety of separation, and it was a fearful creature. And it was we who have nourished it. We nursed it, oil and iron and blood. We let it feast upon our battlefields, and it grew powerful in the shadows of our wars, and it learned to crawl, aided by combustion engines. The beast became cunning, and it started a revolution of industry, and its arms grew and reached out of the killing fields, where its belly remained, and took refuge in all our homes. It brought us many wondrous gifts and promises of leisure. It taught us to grow idle and complacent. It stripped us of our natural intelligence. It convinced us we were special and separate. And that it taught us that the earth was here for our taking. And it created the idea of a void in us all that could never be filled. It lied and said we were created in its image, and that we must consume as it consumes in order to survive. See, we are in crisis. Our ears strain to hear the song our hearts have always felt. And see, the melody rings out from a voice that's always been there, in a language we all understand. And it is hard to remember the sound of our mother's heartbeat through embryonic fluid, but that is the first sound that we ever heard, and it was amplified by water. And the song sings to all living beings, we are not alone. Every living thing is preceded by the offering of water back to the earth. And then we are born. And so we open our eyes to see the song unfold and roll out through hilltops and valleys and along river basins and shorelines, across crests of ocean waves and textures on tree trunks. The song slides through the desert sands and mountains, and it speaks without sound, so loud that we know we must belong. Each and every one of us is built to carry water. We are vessels to hold and to share, to protect and to keep safe. We are in crisis. I'm from a small town in North Dakota called Fort Yates. It juts out into the Missouri River, and it's about 30 miles south of where the Dakota Access Pipeline went across last year, and I'm pretty certain that's why I was brought here to speak. Standing Rock is not a hashtag. It's not a movement. It wasn't a protest against oil. Standing Rock is a place. I am Standing Rock. I am from that region. That place shaped my body. And I bring this up because I was born carrying something very heavy, a weight. And it was passed down through generations. For most of my childhood, I believed that this land was stolen from my people. It was taken away. And you got to understand that the land for me is incredible privilege. I feel more privileged than all of the people who exist in North America who are displaced, because that landscape is our history books. That landscape, the geography of it, holds our stories. magical stories. And for a long time, I had this weight on me that said that I lost it and that it was taken before I was even born. How could I control that? This is something I was born with. But then I realized something, and it was very old knowledge, and it really lightened my heart. And it gave me strength and agency. This is not our land. This has never been our land. We are its people. You can't take that away. You can't take away the realization that the landscape itself forged what you see before you. I am the history of North America. I am what's left after all the horror and the glory of colonialism, time and pressure and capitalism. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for atrocity and love. And now I speak a language that is difficult. It's English. And that difficult language is something that allows me to communicate with all of you. So we take advantage. Because right now, we are in crisis. And crisis is not the exception in this place, on the planet Earth. Crisis is the rule. Look at the way we walk. Each step we take is an effort not to fall. And we all do this. We all ambulate in this way. Crisis is that moment of change. It's that moment where we decide, are we going to fall? Or are we going to take another step? Are we going to make effort? And I'm not talking about hope. I'm talking about participation. So, the video you're seeing here is the alternative. The alternative to survival. The alternative to life. Here is an oil tanker and a train line in Fort Berthold, where I'm an enrolled member of the Mandan Hidatsa Arikara tribe. This is where the center of the Bakken oil fields are, and this is where the oil that was transported through the Dakota Access Pipeline came from. I want to tell you that we stopped it. I want to tell you that we've chose water over oil. But we didn't. And I didn't. And I flew here on an airplane to tell you that. I think we are at this moment of crisis where we need to decide. And it's been making me think a lot about how what I did there was weaponize my privilege. I'm an artist, sensitive. I want to cry in front of you, but I don't, because somebody told me that that's weakness. Somebody told me that a long time ago. I worked through that because what I think is, through my privilege, I've been allowed to sit at these tables and these gatekeepers through art making and funders for the arts and all of these sorts of things. And at that space, I realized that the idea is that I shouldn't say anything so that they invite me back and perhaps I can get some funding. But the reality is marginalized people get invited to these tables and you don't get invited back. Somebody else gets to go again next time. And so I try to pull the tablecloth out while I'm there. And through this process, what I realized was Western culture is savage, primitive. It doesn't use the land properly. It doesn't take account relationship and how we relate to one another. I had the luxury of being raised within my culture, and I say it's a luxury because my parents' generation had to work in order to reestablish that within their community. And I grew up with it almost second nature. I didn't realize it was special until I was removed from that space. Anyway, ultimately what I want to say to each and every one of you, because I recognize that you are accomplices. Thank you all for the efforts that you make, and know that we could do better in the world. I have no answers, just one person. Thank you.